So I hope all of you read the bulletin every week, right? Except not during the homily. Put it away. And you get the electronic version of it, hopefully by email. And of course, my article goes out every Saturday by email, and then it's in the bulletin. This week I wrote one about our holy hour on Thursday night, holy hour. And during the summer it's at 7 o'clock. And I meant every word of it. It's really a moving moment of rest, of grace, of blessing during the week. So I really encourage you to come to the holy hour on Thursday night. You don't have anything else to do that night. Come at 7 and pray here in church. We have the Blessed Sacrament exposed on the altar, and we have beautiful music and prayer. So give it a try. It's really a special, special moment of grace for you. So I want to encourage you to do that. I wanted to focus today on St. Paul's letter to the Romans we read. And that first line that he tells us, he says, I consider that the sufferings of this present time are as nothing compared with the glory to be revealed for us. And so we have this problem of suffering in our lives. We have mental sufferings, spiritual sufferings. We have the torment of doubt, of discouragement, of disappointments, hurts from other people, which wound our heart. And so we have this anguish, this mental anguish that we go through, undoubtedly. We also have physical ailments and sufferings, physical trials of life that every day brings. As I get older, I'm feeling them even more and more. I don't bounce back as quick as I did before. And I think many of you can commiserate with me on that. That we have to face these challenges, these sufferings in our lives with a new attitude. Now, my grandma always said, offer it up, right? And offer it up for a poor sinner in purgatory, that sinner may go to heaven. And so we took that to heart, and we would always, anytime we had something to suffer, we'd offer it for a poor sinner in purgatory. I can remember my sister, the birth of her first child, and she was going to offer it up. She was not going to take any kind of drugs. She was going to offer that pain up, that labor pains, which I understand are pretty tough. I don't know, I haven't experienced them yet, but they tell me it was tough. So, in fact, when I was born at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, and I was born flipped over, so it was quite painful. And I think that was my first cross for my mom to bear, so I would become a priest. So she offered that suffering up, I'm sure. So my sister's in the hospital, and she's got this big rosary, one of those extra large ones that you hang on the wall. And she's praying that rosary. I'm going to offer this pain up for a poor sinner in purgatory that he may go to heaven. Please, Lord. Mary, help me. And she's praying. Of course, her husband passes out, and all the nurses and doctors around him says, hey, I'm the one in labor pains here. What are you doing with that guy? And so she's praying, and the pain comes, and oh my gosh, I offered up for that poor sinner in purgatory. I'm offering up. And then the big pain came, the real serious one, contractions. And she stopped and said, that sinner can go to hell. I want morphine. So that's not the right attitude, but sometimes suffering is so much that we can't take it. But I'm sure she saved lots of souls that day. So we offer it up. We have to embrace suffering in our lives. We can't shun it. We can't hide from it. We can't seek comfort all the time through those little helps we get along the way. Either alcohol sometimes, or just laziness, or all these vices that we have that we kind of make up to escape suffering in our lives. Why not embrace it? Why not say, Lord, I'm going to suffer this for love of you? St. Paul could say that in all sincerity, that he considers sufferings as nothing compared with the glory to be revealed in us. The glory of heaven is going to be zillions of times greater than anything we can suffer. And we're going to look back when we're in heaven, hopefully, and say, that was nothing. Oh, I'm glad I'm here. Glad I suffered that. Now, it takes self-control, though. It takes self-discipline in order to confront suffering. We're given over to taking the easy way out, aren't we, all the time? We don't have that self-control. We give ourselves over to our lower nature, to our lower self, our instinctual self, all our wants and needs. We need our cravings, our lusts, we have to just fulfill all the time, right? There's no room for temperance and for virtue and for self-control. You know, Friday night I was at a wedding rehearsal dinner at a Mexican restaurant, and my family sent this little text that said, you know your self-control is bad when you get salsa and chips put before you. You know, you just eat those things like until they're free. Of course, you got to eat them all. So no self-control there. So we have to have self-control, but that's the key though. It's the cross. You know, Jesus wanted to do the good. He wanted to do God's will. And it cost him his life. It cost him the sufferings of the cross, which he embraced fully. He took it on. Same thing with us. We have to say that's our cross in our lives. That's how we help save the world. We're in a society today that says that it's kind of legalistic society. It says, what's the rule? How far can I go until I break that rule? You know, with the sins out here, I'm going to go just that far, and then, no, I'll hold back. That's not the way to live. You have to reorient your interior so you desire the good, not the sin. Sometimes we want, you know, we secretly want that sin more than we want the good thing we should do. That's why we're always looking for the limits. How far can I go? You have to turn around and say, I want the good, so the limit isn't even there. You see that? We have to say, I want the good things. You have to identify with what is good and what is right, what is just, what is holy, rather than the vice, rather than fulfilling your own cravings and lusts. I think secretly we want that, though. That's the problem. So then we're always fighting back and forth. You go so far and then you sin, and then you have to confess, and you sin again, and you're going back and forth, and there's no peace in your life. There's no happiness. There's no peace there. Then comes depression and all the other things that happen with failing yourself so often. We have to be free, truly free in Christ Jesus. What does that mean? That means you do what you ought to do. You free yourself from these cravings, from the lower self. You live a higher life. We have to live above our nature. We have to live in the image of God, in other words. Do you see that? And so it takes work, it takes effort, because it's the cross. But once you decide to say, I'm not going to give in to the flesh anymore. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to identify with that anymore. Suddenly, you're free. You're free to worship God, to love him, and to be everything you need to be in his presence. You have the freedom of the children of God. We have to go for that. And it takes work. It takes effort. But it's so worth it, because the glory to be revealed is going to be amazing in heaven. It's going to be amazing. And you'll feel it here on earth too. You'll feel that freedom, that joy, that peace that comes over you when you know you're doing God's will, when you know you're doing what is right, what is good. Even when you're suffering because of it, you'll feel good about that. So take a good hard look at your lives and see, where are you in regard to your innermost desires, your innermost longings. What do you really feel inside? What do you want? And if it's not God's will, if it's not what is right and good, you got to change that. You have to convince yourself. You got to identify with what is good. You cannot hold on to this secret life of choosing the other way. You can't do that. It's a source of disunity in your person. And we want to be in harmony with ourselves, with God. And that's why the sacrament of confession is very important, because it restores that grace and that harmony within your soul. So come to confession and get it all out. Don't hold anything back. And make that promise, that commitment to Christ and his way, not your own. And offer up your sufferings for yourself, for your family, for your country, for your friends. That's the way you're going to live the good Christian life that you're called to live. So let's all continue to work hard, and let's do it.